I knew something was wrong the moment my sister smiled at me across the brunch table. It wasn't warm. It wasn't kind. It was the kind of smile someone gives right before they try to cut you open. That's my hook, because if you've ever had someone in your own family pretend to love you while sharpening a knife behind their back, then you already know what this story is going to feel like. My name is Grace. I'm 32, living in Denver, Colorado, and this story is about the day my older sister mocked me at brunch, and then learned the part one wasn't supposed to tell anyone. I was the one signing her paycheck. If this hits home already, or if you've ever been underestimated by your own family, just tell me where you're watching from. It helps me feel less alone saying this out loud. I didn't even want to go to that brunch. It was one of those places in downtown Denver that tries too hard to feel casual: white brick walls, wooden tabletops, Edison bulbs hanging like exposed nerves. Everything smelled like sourdough and melted butter. People were laughing, glasses clinking, forks scraping plates. It was loud, but somehow, the judgment from my sister, Emma, always managed to be louder. She invited me because Mom insisted. "Keep the peace," she said. "You two are sisters, you need these moments." But what Mom didn't understand was that Emma didn't want peace with me. She wanted superiority. She lived off it like oxygen. I walked in wearing a simple navy sweater and jeans, comfortable, nothing fancy. Emma stood when she saw me, in a cream coat, hair curled like she paid someone to do it even though she always claimed she woke up like that. "Oh. There she is," she said loudly, hugging me with one arm while her eyes scanned me up and down. "You look, well, casual. But that's your thing." There it was. The first cut of the day, quiet, subtle, and meant for only me. We hadn't even ordered yet. Growing up, I was the quiet one. The bookish one. The one who stayed in her room doing homework while Emma was out making friends, hosting sleepovers, and being crowned most likely to succeed. And honestly, I didn't mind. Success to her meant applause. Success to me meant independence. But our parents couldn't help themselves. They adored Emma's loud personality, her confidence, her way of commanding a room. I was the reliable one. The helpful one. The one who cleaned up after events, made sure the fridge was stocked, remembered birthdays, handled errands. And it stuck. Even as adults. Emma went into marketing. She loved being around people, loved being the center of attention, loved saying things like, "I thrive under pressure." I went into operations management. The quiet side of business. The side no one brags about at family dinners. So when I ended up working for a large, fast-growing consulting firm in Denver, no one asked questions. No one realized the operations department grew into its own subsidiary. And no one knew I was promoted to director, then executive director, then, eventually, coup. I didn't brag. I didn't announce it. And because my last name isn't on the public website, company policy, no one connected the dots. Least of all Emma. Especially because, a year ago, her company struggled. She needed a new client. A big one. She joined an agency. And that agency signed a contract with my company's marketing division. Which meant my sister's paycheck came from my approval. She had no idea. And I wasn't planning on telling her. Not until that brunch. But something in her that day, something sharp and careless, made what happened inevitable. At the end of this section, I'll tell you what she said, but let me set the moment right, because it's the line that still echoes. The waiter had just brought our water glasses when Emma leaned forward with the kind of smile you wear before a punchline. "So, Grace," she said, swirling her mimosa. "Still working that little admin job?" "Little." Admin. Job. I blinked. I work in operations. She waved her hand. Oh, whatever you call it. A support role. Nothing wrong with that. We can't all be leaders. The words slid across the table like something oily. I took a breath. I wasn't angry yet, just tired. I do more than admin work, Emma. Oh, sweetheart, you don't have to pretend with me, she said, loud enough that the table next to us glanced over. No shame in being average. The heat rose in my chest, slow but steady. And hey, she added, laughing softly, if you ever need help moving to something bigger, let me know. I can maybe put in a word with someone. That was the moment. The moment she humiliated me, publicly, loudly, carelessly, in the middle of a crowded Denver brunch spot. The table behind me went silent. A couple at the window paused mid-conversation. Emma noticed the attention but didn't care. She smirked at me like she won something. I said nothing. Not yet. But inside me, something cracked. And the crack wasn't small. If you're still watching, thank you. Stories like this aren't easy to tell. If you've ever reached a breaking point like that, where silence becomes impossible, drop a comment, because I promise you, I understand that feeling too well. Here's what happened next. I tried to steer the conversation away. I even laughed softly and said, let's talk about something else. But Emma was on a roll. She loved an audience. And she loved a victim. Actually, she said, raising her voice, I was telling Mom the other day, it's a shame you didn't follow in my footsteps. You just never had that drive. But that's okay. Not everyone is meant to lead. It was a dagger wrapped in faux sympathy. I felt my cheeks burning, not from shame, but from the weight of years of letting her talk to me like that, years of letting her believe she was above me, years of swallowing my own success because I didn't want to compete with my own sister. A waiter passed by slowly, probably sensing the tension. The air between us felt heavy. I finally said, Emma, you don't know what I do. Not really. She laughed. Grace, you push papers. I pitch campaigns. Our levels aren't the same. She sipped her drink, leaned back, crossed her legs like she was on a talk show. So tell me, what's your latest win? Did you organize a team lunch? File some paperwork early? That was the quiet humiliation scene, the whispered insult disguised as humor. Her voice was sweet, but every word was meant to break something inside me. And right there, at that table, something finally did. This is where the story shifts. Because until that moment, I kept the peace. After that moment, I couldn't anymore. Here's the part that still surprises me. Because while Emma was mocking me for having a small support job, she slipped up. Big time. She said something she didn't mean to reveal. Oh, by the way, she added casually, my agency just renewed that contract with the consulting company I told you about. You wouldn't know them, big corporate thing. Very high pressure. Basically keeping my department afloat. My heart stopped. The consulting company? I asked slowly. Yeah, the one that absorbed the Sternwell account. They merged last year. I'm sure that's over your head, so never mind. Over my head. The irony nearly made me laugh. Because the company she was talking about, the company keeping her department afloat, was mine. And the Sternwell account? I approved that transition myself. Her department didn't just depend on the contract. Her job did. I stared at her for a long second. A long, dangerous, clarifying second. She had no idea that the operations department she mocked, Was the engine behind the contract that paid her salary. No idea that my signature kept her agency funded. No idea that her entire professional stability rested on the little job she loved to belittle. I felt something inside me harden, not into anger, but into resolve. This was the turning point. There's a very specific feeling that hits you when someone steps on you one too many times. A feeling that isn't rage. Isn't sadness. Isn't embarrassment. It's clarity. A cold, clean kind of clarity. And sitting there, watching Emma brag about her position while insulting mine, I felt that clarity settle over me like snowfall. For the first time in my life, I didn't shrink. I didn't explain myself. I didn't try to win her approval. I simply stopped needing it. And in that silence, Emma kept talking, believing she'd won something. That's when I made a decision, not to get even, but to set things right. To stop letting her rewrite the narrative. To stop letting her talk down to me. To show her, calmly and without cruelty, the truth she had ignored her entire life. I wasn't beneath her. Not even close. This is the part of the story where things start to shift quietly. Methodically. Where the plan begins. If you're still here at the halfway point, thank you. Truly. And if you relate to this moment, this line where you stop pleading and start acting, let me know. It helps more than you think. I didn't want drama. I didn't want a scene. I wanted documentation. Clarity. Professional boundaries. The kind of revenge you can execute with a laptop, not a blow-up. When I returned to the office Monday morning, I didn't storm in. I didn't rant. I didn't gossip. I scheduled a meeting with HR and the finance team. I asked for a performance review summary on the marketing agencies we partnered with, including Emma's. Not because I wanted to punish her. But because I wanted facts. Objective, unemotional facts. The documents showed. Her department had missed 2 deadlines in the last quarter. There were complaints about slow responses. The deliverables were good but inconsistent. And they requested a renewal at a higher rate than justified. Nothing dramatic. Nothing scandalous. Just the type of data that mattered for contract decisions. So I requested a quality audit, a standard one, nothing unusual. One that every agency goes through eventually. Except Emma didn't know her department was next in line. And she certainly didn't know the person overseeing it was me. I didn't target her. I targeted fairness. But fairness, in this case, wasn't going to go in her favor. This wasn't destruction. This wasn't cruelty. This was accountability. And it was coming for her, quietly, professionally, and completely within the rules. 2 weeks later, Emma's agency arrived for the quarterly review. A standard meeting. Nothing dramatic, unless you were inside my chest, listening to my heartbeat. The conference room was glass-walled, bright, unforgiving. Sunlight reflected off metal table edges. The projector hummed softly. People adjusted chairs, shuffled papers. Emma walked in wearing a red blazer, full confidence, ready to impress. Then she saw me. For a second, her face froze. Her smile flickered. Confusion. Then disbelief. Grace? What are you doing here? She whispered, pulling me aside. Working, I said simply. But, this is an executive meeting. I know. You're allowed in here, she asked, voice cracking. I opened my laptop. I'm leading it. She stared at me like I'd spoken another language. Before she could respond, the meeting started. My team began presenting the audit. Charts. Data. Delays. Underperformance. All factual. All professional. Emma sat there, shrinking slowly, color draining from her face as she realized how serious it all was. There was no mockery now. No loud superiority. No brunch table confidence. She looked at me with wide eyes, searching, pleading, embarrassed. Not because I was doing anything wrong, but because she realized the entire time she mocked me. I had been sitting in a position she never imagined I could reach. At the end, the room fell silent. I closed my folder and looked directly at her. As it stands, I said calmly, we're reducing your department's contract until performance stabilizes. Emma swallowed hard. Grace, please. Don't do this. I'm not doing anything, I said quietly. This is the data. This is business. It wasn't revenge. It was justice. And for the first time, she understood the weight of her own actions. That night, she showed up at my apartment. No red blazer. No perfect curls. Just jeans, a hoodie, and eyes that looked broken. Can we talk? She asked. I let her in. She sat on my couch, hands shaking. I didn't know, she whispered. I swear, Grace. I didn't know you were someone. Those words hit me deeper than any brunch insult. Emma, I said gently, I've always been someone. You just never looked. She covered her face. I messed up. I messed up so badly. You didn't mess up because of your performance, I told her. You messed up because you treated me like I was beneath you. Her voice cracked. I was jealous, she admitted. You were everything I wasn't growing up. Quiet. Smart. Steady. I was always performing, and you were always winning without trying. It wasn't an excuse. But it was the first honest thing she had said to me in years. And that honesty softened something in me. Not everything. But something. We talked for hours. Not as adversaries. Not as sisters competing for the spotlight. Just two women who grew up in the same house with different scars. She apologized. Not the half-hearted kind, but a real one. And I forgave her. Not because she deserved it instantly, but because I deserved peace. In the months that followed, Emma worked harder. She rebuilt trust with her team. She delivered better results. She stopped bragging, stopped posturing, stopped using people as her stage. And slowly, our relationship changed. Not perfectly. Not magically. But honestly. For the first time in our lives. We became equals. If you're still listening, let me leave you with this. Sometimes, the quiet ones aren't weak. Sometimes, the overlooked ones aren't small. And sometimes, the people you think you're stepping over are the ones holding up the floor beneath your feet. We don't choose the families we're born into. But we do choose which stories we keep living. And I chose to stop living the story where I was the lesser sister. I hope you choose the same in your own life. If this story hit home, or if you've ever been underestimated, feel free to like this video or share your own story in the comments. I'd love to hear it. Grace.